So to continue on, this is part 2 of the article we're doing here on Thomas Jefferson, man of the people. In part 2, we will begin with virtue and talent. And again, this is a writing by Dr. Martin Larson. Virtue and talent, but how is it possible to establish and maintain a republic such as Jefferson envisioned? To him, the answer was quite simple, for nature has, with equal and generous hand, distributed the seeds of genius among all levels of the population. No one can foretell when or among whom gifted individuals will emerge who, endowed with native ability, intelligence, and drive to accomplish, can rise up to the top and become leaders and innovators in science, government, and the arts. That's something I look forward to as a renaissance to truly take place in the United States. 2021 and forward, I believe it's possible. I think we're totally lined up for it. The mentality is prevailing. Definitely, the infrastructure needs it. It would be a wise thing to put all the Americans back to work. Me, being a former Mason of 13 years, meaning stonemason, not an Illuminati Mason. There's plenty of infrastructure that's shot to shit. It was built like shit in the first place. I watched it go to hell 1998. The influx of crap labor came up, was hired at wholesale, gathered up at the Home Depot and brought to the job site, exploited, abused. That goes without saying. That's done in every country. That's another thing. This is only central to America because Americans are so racist. If you're brown in color, we're going to exploit you. What a crock of shit. Move to another country, cats. Check it out. Otherwise, that's what's taking place. Period. This question continued to occupy Jefferson's mind throughout his mature life. He explained that during earlier times when land could be obtained for little or nothing, certain provident persons began founding great families which in time resembled the European aristocracy. And again, that's what it's turned into. After they sent Kennedy's head across the cab of the vehicle, Johnson grabbed the situation by the crotch and ran with it, of his making. His fingers were all over that. And then he ran with it. And from Johnson to Ford, to Carter, to Reagan. Sorry, guys. Reagan tried. Pappy Bush reeled him in. And then after that, after Reagan, it just was wholesale. Pappy Bush. And it will be. Yeah. So we're back to the land. Again, things are starting to resemble the aristocracy. So the oligarchical plutocracy you're witnessing now, which is being eroded, is what they're relating to. They cause laws of entail, limiting inheritances to a specific line, and primogeniture, making the eldest son the sole heir, to be enacted. These created a patrician order distinguished by the splendor and luxury of their establishments. To annul this privilege, and instead of an aristocracy of virtue and talent which nature has wisely provided for direction of the interests of society and scattered with equal hand through all its conditions, was deemed essential to a well-ordered republic. Jefferson therefore prepared 4 bills, including one to abolish the importation of slaves, and another to disestablish the Anglican Church. These, he said, would eradicate every fiber of past or potential aristocracy based on birth or wealth. When these laws drawn by himself were passed, they laid an axe to the root of pseudo-aristocracy. So true aristocracy still existed? I don't know. Thus was prepared the foundation for the emergence and dominance of a true aristocracy. One based on virtue and talent. Jefferson never tired of reiterating that the seeds of genius, which nature sows with even hand through every age and country, need only soil and season to germinate. So everything flourishes in the right environment, in the correct environment, in the apropos environment, right? Right, yeah. The best means of preserving liberty in America is exactly that provided by all our state constitutions to leave to the citizen the free election and separation of the aristoi from the pseudo-aristoi, of the wheat from the chaff. In general, they will elect the good and the wise. So elect the crux, elect freedom too, manipulated. How long? How profoundly? To what extent? Local? More than likely. CCP funds. Next to you? Definitely. Business? Oh, bet it. Also, who? Oh, yeah, government creeping at you. Going away, hopefully. Pariahs. I carry on. Thus was prepared the foundation for the emergence and dominance of a true aristocracy, one based on virtue and talent. Did I already cover that? Excuse me, I did. I'll try and edit that, more than likely unsuccessfully. So, in general, again, they were planning hopefully to elect the good and the wise before I went off on the tangent about manipulations, diebold, dangling chads, and all that monkey shit. Those are all ops, guys. Really? You really believe since the dangling chad, the back-to-back administrations, the Clinton administration during the 90s, the hate crime laws, the Brady Bill, the butcher of Waco, Janet Reno, watching that bullshit go down, the PSYOP, that whole thing for the CCP during the 90s. I was bitching about it. Los Alamos secrets going up. Governor of New Mexico, what did he do? Not only that, how about the NSA ducking phone technology? The MERV phone technology. Not MERV phone, the MERV ballistic missile technology. Anyway, I'm getting riled up. I'll get back to reading. I agree, he continued, that there is a natural aristocracy among men. The grounds for this are virtue and talents. But there is also an artificial aristocracy founded on wealth and birth. Virtue and talents, virtue and talents. Who be the judge of virtue and talents? Without either virtue or talents, for these it would belong to the first class. The natural aristocracy I consider as the most precious gift of nature. For the instruction, the trusts and government of society, that form of government is best which provides effectually for a pure selection of these natural aristoi into the offices of government. The artificial aristocracy is a mischievous ingredient. So, rather than going with the artifice, could we build an AI program that could help us choose an actual aristocracy, not a pseudo, but a true, pure, organic aristocracy of the planet that would be judged on their very virtue and talents? I hold it to be one of the distinguishing excellencies of elective over hereditary successions that the talents which nature has provided in sufficient proportion should be selected by a society for the government of their affairs, rather than that this should be transmitted through the loins of knaves and fools, passing from the debauches of the table to those of the bed. Wow. So I guess you just can't down a 7-Eleven dog, run over there and play a couple of games of Rainbow Six and bend over Betty and hit the bed. None of that going on. People took time. They had words, spoken sounds. Next, importance of education. But first, this from our sponsors. No, I'm just kidding. That's going to end part 2. Next will be part 3, carrying on with the, virtue and talent.